Hari Om Yogis. Today we have an interesting topic, spiritual anecdotes and parables. Some funny stories. But before we begin, let's um, let's start as usual with 3 ohms. And by the way, all the stories uh, on the spiritual anecdotes and parables are based on true life events. So let's begin with our back straight. Let's breathe in. Very well, let's place our hands together. Let's close our eyes and let's observe a moment of silence and stillness. Very well. So, spiritual anecdotes and parables based on true stories, true life events. The first one happened today, so it's fresh. It was very funny. So, earlier today, I had a visitor. Let's call him a fellow yogi. By the way, on the spiritual parables and anecdotes, at times, although they are based on true life events, at times I may change a few things to protect some of the members and characters on the particular stories, because the intention of sharing these stories is not to embarrass anyone or shame anyone, but rather share these stories, these parables, so that hopefully it may serve us as lessons, and maybe we can try to be mindful of these lessons that we can hopefully learn through these parables and anecdotes, and be mindful of those mistakes and try to avoid those mistakes in the future. So that's the only purpose. So although they are all the parables and anecdotes on this series are based on true life events, sometimes I may change a little here or there to not make it so obvious that, oh yeah, we know it's about him or her. We all make mistakes. We all yogis. We are all on the path, and we all stumble and do our make our blunders. So the purpose is not to shame anyone, to point fingers at anyone, or anything like that. So if at times I change some little details or whatever, it's for that purpose and that purpose alone. Other than that, I will try to keep the structure of the story as closest to the truth as possible, so that the message can be relayed, and hopefully we can be mindful of these things and learn and grow. And we all don't have to make all the mistakes. We could if we wanted to, but it's best if we learn also, not just from our mistakes, but from the mistakes of others. So this is the purpose of these stories. Also, they may serve as inspiration if some of these. So today, this story that just happened earlier, right? Fellow yogi comes to visit me. He's here for some time. Obviously, to a certain degree, he thinks highly of me, right? But also, he seems to have a tendency to want to impress me. I guess that's natural when let's say we really admire someone or we look up to someone, then we kind of like want to look good in their eyes, like we want to look good in the eyes of the gurus or the instructors or whoever, because these are people that we look up to. So I guess that's a natural tendency, and again, simple mistakes and blunders that we all make. But this one was particularly funny. So he spent some times here, and he tells me, "Oh, Paul, that chair that you used for meditation last night when I was meditating, I sat on it, and man, I love that chair that you use for meditation because the vibration was so pure and so sattvic, and I just went into a deep state and I was there for hours." Never mind that the meditation is 30 minutes or 45, depending on on your instruction. But I was there for hours, and it's the vibration that you have on that chair is, and then of course I'm very I am very pleased that he's so sensitive that he can capture the nature of my pure holy vibrations. Oh, really? Thank you. I'm glad that But here's the detail. That chair, I never used once for meditation. Not once have I used that chair for meditation or even thought about it. If anything, I have used it as a stepping stool to reach, some cabinet or something. But in his mind, he thought, "Oh, this is the chair that Paul uses for meditation, and now I'm gonna, I guess, impress him to a certain degree, let him know that I feel his holy vibrations and that this chair is impregnated with this awesome vibration from his meditation, blah, blah, blah," right? So in one way, he thinks highly of me, that he wants to, I guess, impress me. But in another way, I can also tell that he doesn't think that highly of me, that he still thinks that he can kind of fool me. But okay, right? Now let's bring that and break that down a little bit into how we can apply that. Obviously, this will come into the realm of truthfulness, of being sincere. But I also want to bring to the point of speaking, the importance when we speak, let it be from our true, honest, sincere realizations, sincere and true experiences. Do not try to make something up to impress someone, because these are the kind of things that happen. And this was a recent example that just happened earlier today. At least the conversation happened earlier today. He told me that he happened to be using that chair last night or whatever. But it has happened in many different ways, where someone is speaking and they seem so certain. They speak with such authority, with such conviction, right? but it's not their experience. Now, a couple of things can happen with this. And all of these things that I'm going to talk about now have been from my experience. And I'm sure some of you will be able to relate, which is the beautiful thing about when you speak from experience. Other people similarly on the path can relate. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, that happened, you know? So, one of the things that happens when you speak about something and it's not from your direct experience, if you are in a position of authority, let's say you're leading a group, or you're an instructor, or even simply people look up to you. You may have magnetism, charming personality, and spiritual development to a certain degree, and people look up to you, even though you may not be holding any particular position, and now you talk in a certain way. Now, if it's not from experience, a couple of things can happen. And all of these things have happened to me. One is, okay, this person seems to know best. I have thought at times, oh, let's trust him or her, right? It had also happened where someone speaks in this manner. It's not from their experience. I don't know it yet. And I don't believe them. Or I'm not that impressed about whatever they're saying. Sometimes it's not so much that I don't believe them. I'm thinking, okay, these are just words that they're talking about, or just concepts, whatever. Sounds nice, all right? But now this is the beauty and also the danger. If you are not speaking from experience and someone believes you because of who you are, because they like you, or because you're in a position of authority or whatever, you have some seniority, they simply look up to you. Now they believe whatever you're saying, whatever you are affirming, whatever you are so sure of and speaking with so much authority and conviction on. Now a moment may come when this other person now realizes, has certain experiences within his or her meditation, and now they see the truth. And if you have not been speaking from your own conviction and authority, from your own true experience, when that person, him or her, reaches a certain level, now what happens is the level of respect for you that has been saying these words and these concepts, now they realize, and now you are no longer up here. Now you are, oh, he's just or she's just, that's it, just talk. And it can also happen, this is the beautiful thing, that has happened to me. Now this also thing has also happened to me, where someone is talking, they're in a position of authority. Okay, I trust you, I believe you, or yeah, whatever, I'm not gonna contradict what you're saying, but I'm not too impressed, or I'm not taking it that seriously. But now then, when you have the experience, or when that person that's listening has the experience, and they see and they realize that these words that you have been saying, these concepts, these experiences that you are talking about are true and valid. And then in their hearts, in their minds, oh, this is what she was talking about. This is what he was talking about. So it's not just noise. It's not just concepts made up or something that is just read in a book. This is a real thing. Then it's a beautiful thing. Then the level of respect for the speaker, that at one point, okay, they're a person of authority, they're leading a group, whatever, but I'm not contradicting, but I'm not too impressed. I don't necessarily don't believe it, but okay, I'm listening, right? And then you realize, oh, this is true, this is real, this is a real life thing. this is a real achievable, palpable experience, then the level of respect for you, for the speaker, for the gurus, for the masters, for the instructors, or for any initiate that is having to talk goes up, because that person realized, wow, this is what he or she told me or was talking about 3 years ago, 5 years ago. And now I realize it in my own heart, in my own mind. Oh, he or she is obviously a few steps ahead of me. The level of respect for you goes up. This has happened to me with instructors and with Swami Guru Devanand. Listen to the lectures and they're talking about all these things, and then, oh, I'm listening, but I wasn't too impressed. Some people were impressed right away with some, but me, I was like, okay, I'm listening, because again, remember, I started as a kid, so I'm listening, and okay, sounds nice, and I'm trying to understand, and in my head, I'm making sometimes jokes about the lecture. Outside I'm looking very, but inside I'm thinking, okay, yeah, whatever this, that. But then when you have the experience, you realize, oh, wait a second. This is what they were talking about. And so your level of respect, admiration goes up for that person. And also your level of trust on them. So let's avoid that mistake that we all make. These are just reminders for all of us. One beautiful thing I saw was an instructor. I heard him talking. And when he's talking, at one point he said, that's as far as I know. He's an instructor. He's been meditating for decades and years. And, as far as I know, at least this is from what I see, from what I can see now, this is the attitude. That is more or less closer to the truth, if you want to say that. You don't always have to say after every single thing, as far as I know. But when I heard those, I said, oh yes, this is it. You'll see. So that's the story, an anecdote for today. I wonder if I should say a second story, or if I should keep this short. In essence, let's focus on that, on when we speak, remembering that it's best to speak from our true and authentic experiences, from what we have lived, and understanding also that it may be our true authentic experience at the moment, but that may not be the ultimate. And I'm going to share this because this is made for the yogis, from my own corrections and my own mistakes. So sometimes you may have an experience and you discover that a certain attitude, a certain way of being, it works out really well and really great. And so you feel, oh, this is great, this is awesome, this is... Now, it may, in your effort or your desire to help, you may want to share or invite others to try this, to encourage others into trying this, that you have kind of stumbled upon it on your own and this kind of thing. Caution. Speaking from experience on this one, because remember, we are following a particular lineage of the school of Sri Adi Shankara, of discernment and these kind of things. If you listen to the way that Swami Guru Devanand was speaking, and our instructors, Guruji, and so forth. Listen to the things that they are speaking. If you can listen and be aware of the things that they are not saying, if you can be aware of when they speak, who happens to be in the room, to what crowd that happen to be addressing at the moment, what kind of lectures are given in front of visitors, and what kind of lectures and themes are treated in front of, you know, like a Thursday kind of thing, like just yogis, just initiate, and what kind of topics he's only talking to 2, 3 people, under what conditions. All of these things matter. These are all like little hints into what I'm trying to say. Meaning that not everything is to be shared. Because not everything is for everyone. And that attitude, that thing that you may have discovered within, it is tailor-made for you, for your life, for your mind, for your particular development. It's almost like a mantra. Just the way that the mantra is for you, same way you may discover within you, oh, this way of being, of relating, of dealing with the world and those around me, or circumstances or whatever, it is conducive for me. And it may not be that it may be conducive for you forever, but at this moment, and then it feels so good when you are in that groove and things are flowing, and there's little to no friction, and you feel like you are, on the express lane. And naturally, you may want, oh man, this everybody needs to know about this, right? Don't be so quick to share. And if you are going to share, remember those things that I mentioned. What you see that the masters are talking about in public, in private, to large groups, to small groups, to just individuals, under what conditions, and then see, okay, he has never talked about this, or in this particular way. It's not that they don't know about it, because they definitely know about it. But there's a reason why they may not share certain things with certain people. So keep that in mind. I want to keep it short, so today I want to share a second story. So let's remember that, in essence, speak when we speak. Let's not make the mistake of trying to impress people, and this chair that you use for meditation is so awesome, and the vibrations are, because you may have a yogi like me looking at you and laughing at you in your face, and I'm like, oh really? I am so glad that your meditation has taken you to this level of when in reality, I never used that chair for meditation. And again, these are not stories to point fingers or blame or shame anyone. We all make these mistakes. Let's just be mindful of these things and try to avoid them in our own lives and in our own dealings with others. So that when one day people realize and understand and see that, wow, what this yogini told me or hinted at, or that's why he was saying this, or that's why he or she didn't want me to do, then when they see, oh, the level of respect for you goes up rather than down, when they realize and understand, and then they look at you and they say, oh, this guy doesn't this guy or this girl doesn't know what she's talking about. They're just full of it. You do not want to be and it may be, the worst thing is, it may be that you may be in a position of authority and they may be under you, but yeah, they'll be obedient and helpful, and because they are bigger things, but they don't look at you with much respect, because they see that you keep affirming and talking so with so much conviction about something, that this thing that, as if you like, this is true, and this is like this, and I know this for a fact, that but somebody else is can tell. So let's leave it at that. Let's be honest, sincere, and when we speak from our own realizations. All right, let's finish with our 3 ohms as usual. Hari Om, yogis.